First playoff series win since 2009 if they can hold off San Antonio. Look at the Joker.
Yeah.
47-34 as Nikola Jokic has 15-9 in the first half. American Express halftime report. Ernie Johnson, Kenny, Shaq, Charles. It would be hard to imagine a worse offensive half than the San Antonio Spurs just put together. 34 points, 22% shooting, 1 for 10 from 3. But it's only a 13-point game with 24
That
minutes
was one of the worst halves of basketball I've ever seen in a playoff game. I mean, other than Jokic and Rudy Gay.
Yeah,
the rest
Rudy Gay saved him in the
No, but I'm
first
saying, those are only two guys to me, I'm playing scared. Like, everybody out there is terrified. They're terrified. They're terrified. I mean, that was one of the worst half of basketball, but Joker is single-handedly carrying the Nuggets, and Rudy Gay stepped up. But, man, I cannot – I said before the game, I thought the role players for the Nuggets would step up. They have not. It's been all Joker. And I said if the Spurs had a chance, their two stars had to be stars. And their two stars have been embarrassing, plain and simple.
The American Express teammates from the first half, obviously, the Joker is going to be on there. Big Honey got 15 points. Paul Millsap, who has the playoff experience on that team, has 8. So those two combining for 23 of Denver's 47. But Shaq, you said before the game, look, Aldridge, DeRozan, the stars got to step up. These guys combined for 51 points in Game 6. They've got 12 combined in Game 7.
Yeah, when you're part of a 1-2 punch and you're playing on a road, you definitely have to step up. No questions asked. When you step up, the others will follow. These guys are in there 3 for 18, in the words of Charles Barkley. Embarrassing. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's good defense. I don't know if it's terrified, but I know it cannot happen in a Game 7. You got to make these shots.
That's a terrible shot,
better plays. And, the defense is, corralling you. They want to stop you, but you still got to step up. You want to be a great player? This is what great players do. They step up in Game 7s on the road. No excuses, no questions asked right there. Single coverage, you got to go up strong. 3 for 18 is not going to get it done. Rudy Gay has stepped up and carried. They are only down 13. Both teams didn't play great. But again, when you're part of a 1-2 punch on the road, Game 7, you got to come out and you got to dominate, and the others will follow.
Hey, go ahead, Ken. I got something to say when you finish.
Well, I'm going to go to the board, so.
But what's amazing to me, Shaq,
we only got 2.5 minutes, so get ready to go to the board.
I see what you're doing over there, Ernest.
I want to have a good seat to watch it.
Yeah, I see what you're doing over there, Ernest. I see what you're doing over there. I see what you're doing over there. I see what you're doing over there.
Shaq might have pulled something back then.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Y'all over
No,
there.
I didn't.
Y'all shooting
No,
the gun.
I didn't.
Y'all shot the gun. That was like
I'm not Chuck America.
That's a false start.
I'm not Chuck America.
False start. That's my line.
False start. That was a false start. Doesn't count, America.
Pew.
But in basketball, there's run starters, stoppers, and run makers. And right now, at least for Denver, they have people who can sustain the run or start the run. And Jokic has been fantastic, as we've seen all game. But then every now and then, you need someone to be able to say, okay, let's start the run. You don't have to be the one that started, make it happen. And Jamal Murray was that person. But for the San Antonio Spurs, this is the guy who has to be the run stopper. And all of a sudden, he's off and not taking quality shots. LaMarcus Aldridge getting down because on the other end, they got the run maker, the guy who can make the run and keep it going. And that's right here in Jokic. The Joker is just handling his business in the post. And yes, he's not false starting. He is doing it the correct way, Shaq.
You know what's interesting about Aldridge and DeRozan? They're veterans, Ernie.
Yeah.
They know better.
They're like, and there's one guy on the Nuggets who's been in the playoffs, that's Millsap. And those guys should be like, oh, we've been in the playoffs, we're veterans, we got a young team around us on the Spurs, and they're playing like they're just, I feel bad because they're both good players, but they go.
This is the aggression that you talked about the other night.
Yes, you got to be, like, they're too.
Overly aggressive.
Yeah, I'd rather, they're 3 for 18 in a Game 7, two veteran guys who made perennial All-Star teams. That can't happen.
So the question is, will they step up or will they?
Well, the good thing about it, the Nuggets are scared too, other than the Joker.
Will they get more, will they get less, or will they stay the same?
Ernie, before we go, can I apologize to Kenny?
Sure.
Kenny's son isn't here, and when Kenny's son was little, I took Kenny's son from school without telling him, and I never told him I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah, that's another story, man. He just
It sounds like something we really
I
don't have the
came
time
to the
for
school and they were like, "Oh, he went with Shaq." I'm like,
at this point.
Y'all just gave my kids to Shaq?
it's like, what were we gonna say? I was like, his daughter and my son were in the same class.
Yeah, because but you
apologize.
guys had a relationship.
No, not really. Not really, man. Not really.
Not at all.
Really. And he brought him back with a haircut. Well, then took him and get a haircut.
Well, then this is disturbing.
It's very disturbing.
I apologize, Kenny. And KJ, my bad.
High school security.
And you think that apology is enough?
It's only 25 years.
Hey, Jay, how you doing, kid?
He still need a haircut, Shaq.
It's the most he's ever had in a half. 27 on 10 of 14 shooting.
Wow.
And it was a 14-point lead for the Raptors. It was cut to 1. It is up to 9 at the break. And we welcome you to the American Express Halftime Report. Studio J here in Atlanta. Ernie Johnson. Shaq's here. Kenny's here. Chuck is here. Just before we get to the pictures, just give me your take on the first half.
Kawhi Leonard has so much confidence against his team. I was surprised Siakam had that much confidence, but it's clear to me that Kawhi Leonard he's just like, I'm better than anybody here, and there's nothing they can do. It's a really cool place to be as a player.
Leonard's got 27. Siakam's got 22 in the first half, Jet.
Wow. I think overall, if you look at their team, you know, this is the difference that Philadelphia can't play at the pace that they want to. They're not used to it.
Nobody coming.
Nobody coming.
Just got you thinking.
Okay, it's the difference between what they're accustomed to facing. So you have Tobias Harris out here and Danny Green on them. So normally when you come and you make this pick and roll here, you're able to make this pass and freeze it here. This is normally a jump shot or an opportunity for Jimmy Butler to rise over the defense. But when Siakam's here, as we roll it, you see the size and the length doesn't allow him to get that shot off. Freeze it here. And you got size and length, and all of a sudden Marc Gasol, if you look at Boban, you say, man, Boban usually makes everyone look small, not Marc Gasol. So all of a sudden he comes off, you get back in place, and size and length doesn't let you get the shot off. Freeze it here. Yeah, Ennis, you think you got size and length on you again? The size and length of Kawhi Leonard, too much for him. Boban, you're not big. You're not big against Gasol. You just can't block it in. Let's get the steal. Let's make something happen. Ball's out of bounds. We got a turnover, 24-second shot clock. Great. But on the other side, there is no size and length against him. So now you have the ability to just rise over the defense. Most time, this would be difficult for most players. Freeze it here. But right here, Leonard says, no, too small. I'm good. Soon as Boban retreats, because he's got to retreat to the three-point shooter at some point, and I'm going to be able to get my shot off easily. Same thing here. Siakam says, nope, I don't need it. Nope, I'm good. I'm going to get into the position I want to, because why? Too little. These guys are not big enough, not tall enough, don't have the length to defend us, or we have the length and size to guard them. Tough series for Philly. This is going to be tough for Philly. This might, it don't look good.
61-52, the halftime score. Leonard and Siakam combining for 49.
Wow.
Of the team's 61 points. No bench points in the first half.
They didn't do it.
I know, I'm just looking at it. No bench points.
19 for 25.
You got that 1-2 punch.
They might not have missed.
Yeah.
They almost didn't miss.
10 out of 14 for Kawhi, 9 out of 11 for Siakam. Tell me about Philly. Tell me about Embiid.
Well, in this era, when people say we're going to play physical, that means one thing. We're going to make it tough for you to get to your spot. We all know Joel Embiid is an inside player. So you just have to get deep. You can't let a guy push you to your spot, because when you push you to your spot, he wants you to do this. We want you to shoot that jumper. And right here, same thing. That's not deep enough. You know, he has great size, great ability. I need you to get a little deeper. And, you know, Chuck knows this. When you play against a guy that's pushing, all you got to do is go quick. Right, Chuck? All you got to do is go quick. See, right here. Look, right here. Get it. Go quick. Boom. Make a move. Go quick. Be decisive. Doesn't matter if 1, 2, or 3 guys are coming. And right here, you know, just be aggressive. You have that ability, but he's going to have a big game. I would like him to have the same numbers I'm looking at from Kawhi and Pascal, 27-22. Let me see. Embiid, 12 points, not good enough. Ben Simmons, 10 points, not good enough on the road. They're going to have to step it up in the second half if they want to steal one of these games.
Well, yeah, 10, 6, and 2 for Simmons, only one turnover in the first half for
Ronnie.
Ben Simmons.
To me, I said before, this is going to be Tobias Harris and Jimmy Butler. They're going to have to make a dent in the game. Because right now, Siakam and Leonard, they are mismatched for anybody. They have supreme confidence. But, man, Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris. Tobias got 12. He's playing well. But Jimmy Butler, and they might get, or they got to pick it up defensively. I mean, because these two guys, man, you can't let guys shoot 80% on you.
Oh, I think it's about 86.3%.
How about Jay?
90.
How about, speaking of making a dent, how about J.J. Redick not denting the scoreboard?
Oh, they
yet?
got him on lockdown.
no,
0 on 0 for 4.
They got him on lockdown.
Yeah, this is what those Celtics did to them.
That's exactly what he's doing, Keith Pompey. That's exactly what he's doing.
Please do not try that at home. Back with more on the American Express halftime
I'll try
report.
it if you get a wash machine.
just
I'll
a
do it.
second.
I know you will,
Eric,
but you're not
give
at
us a
home.
wash machine. I'll do it.
Welcome to the American Express Halftime Report. American Express, the official card of the NBA.
Outstanding job by our buddy Kyle Wells as he produced that look ahead
That was really
to
good.
Game 7, and you can see the Spurs are 4-6, the Nuggets 1-2. They've played one Game 7 at home. That was in 1978. They beat the Bucks, and David Thompson had himself a 37-point game in that one
Very simple formula tonight, Ernie.
for the Nuggets. So let's get to your formula after we hear from DeMar DeRozan talking about playing in Game 7.
The first Game 7 was against, I think, Brooklyn, against nothing but veterans. Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Joe Johnson. It was probably one of the most intense, series I ever played in. Everybody know KG, how crazy he is. So that whole energy and that whole atmosphere for my first go-round, it was definitely one of the greatest learning experiences. For me, just that toughness is understanding how hard it is to win that last game. Man, go out there and play. Don't think too much like it's a Game 7, but play like we played last game. Play like you want to continue to keep this thing going.
Game 7, you guys have all been there before. In fact, we got the numbers in your career in playing in Game 7s. Shaq 3-1, Chuck 2-3, Kenny 3-1, and you see the respective numbers.
Check, you see 17 rebounds, right?
Yeah, but I also see 2 and 3. I mean, me and Kenny, you see 3 and 1.
Well, you had Kobe
That's the only
Bryant.
number that matters.
You had the Kobe Bryant carrying your ass.
I got a question for
Before I got the MVPs, you better Google me, son.
Google.
I got a question for you. Even if you've been around the league a long time and been in a lot of playoff games, if you have not been in a Game 7, for instance, LaMarcus Aldridge, this will be his 72nd playoff game in his career. Never played a Game 7. How different is it going to be for LaMarcus Aldridge?
I think it's going to be very different at first. It's all about, for me, it was all about that first shot. If I took the first shot and it goes in, I'm going to have a great day. If I missed a couple, now I'm starting to worry a little bit. I go away from it. Hopefully the guys can carry me, and then I would come back to it. But, I don't see him as a guy that gets nervous. He's going to play his game. But Chuck made this point the other day. He needs to get 20, 25. When you're on the road, you need to probably add 5 points to that. Him and DeMar, one of those guys need to get in the high 30s.
Well, to me, this is a very simple formula. It's about role players against stars. The Nuggets role players got to play. I think they're playing at home. They should play well. So if they play well, I think Denver's going to win the game personally. But Jokic's going to do his thing. But the role players got to do something. They haven't done anything really this series, but they've got to play. For the Spurs, it's different. It's about DeMar and LaMarcus. Your stars on the road, they got to play. Those role players, they might have a good game, they might not. But they will follow their stars. So to me, it's very simple. If Denver's going to win this game, their role players got to help Jokic and Murray out. But for the Spurs, those guys got to get 30 and 30.
A lot of the narrative, Chuck and Kenny and Shaq, heading into Game 7 was the fact that Greg Popovich concentrated on not giving open looks to the three-point shooters for Denver in Game 6, Let Jokic do his thing. He had a huge game, but limited the open looks that Denver had.
That's the point I just made. It's going to come down to those role players for Denver. They can't do what they did, but they will play better at home, Ernie, because, number one, Denver plays at a much faster tempo at home. But role players play better at home. Like I said, they get positive reinforcement. The crowd is clapping every time. People not saying mean, nasty things to them. but like I say, that's on the other end. Those guys, you see how those role players on the Spurs, they play better at home. But now those guys are nervous. This is when your stars, because they guys jump on my back, and then they gonna come.
Well, I think that, that's a school of thought for sure. I've seen and been part of different kind of things where there was what Charles is saying as role players. Everyone has a role, obviously. Somebody scores, somebody's assists more, somebody's a star of the team. There's different roles. But the teams that I look at Denver as is similar to what we had in Houston. The guy who is considered a role player, you think, oh, man, if he gets 15, 16, wow, that could help. No, this role player might get 30. Vernon Maxwell will get 30. Sam Cassell might get 30. Jamal Murray might get 30. Beasley might come off the bench and get 25. Those are different type of guys for Denver. There aren't your traditional, oh, get me 12 and I'll be happy. So, case in example, I broke the NBA record for three-pointers against the Orlando Magic. Different type of guys that's going to give you bigger numbers. That's what Denver has. Denver has guys that can really impact the game in a Game 7 much differently than a guy saying, oh, go get me 12 and don't be nervous.
Denver, 34-7 at home. The Spurs, this is their 22nd straight year in the playoffs. In the 21-year run, they've been knocked out 5 times in the first round, never in consecutive years, trying to avoid that. And you think about that 21 years, 5 first-round knockouts, 5 championships.
We the North, baby. We the North.